what, Dimna?
And we're not just looking at it as a collection of children's stories. This is serious stuff.
Oh, absolutely. We're dissecting the core, the foundational chapter, the lion and the ox.
Which is really ancient political philosophy, but it's wrapped in these animal fables. It makes the lessons easier to swallow for the rulers they were intended for.
And the whole story is a direct response to a king's request, isn't it?
Yeah.
He asks the philosopher Bidpai for a very specific warning.
He does. He says, "Strike me a parable of two loving men divided by a treacherous liar." He wants a case study in betrayal.
And that's exactly what he gets. A perfect blueprint for how ambition, and maybe more importantly, paranoia, can just completely dismantle a power structure.
Our loving men are, of course, Binakla the lion, who is the king, the ruler.
And Shatarba the ox, who starts as an outsider, but quickly becomes this loyal, indispensable advisor.
And then there's the treacherous liar, the agent of chaos himself, Dimna the jackal. I mean, his entire purpose in the story is to show how frighteningly easy it is to break even the strongest bonds.
Right. Two, as the text says, sever their amity. So in this deep dive, our mission is to really get into the mechanics of that treachery. How does Dimna turn a simple opportunity into absolute power, using only words?
And crucially, how do his victims, the lion and the ox, give him the exact psychological openings he needs to do it? It all starts, really, with the ox, Shatarba.
Okay, so set the scene for us.
Well, Shatarba is an obs who gets abandoned by a merchant. He wanders into this incredibly lush meadow and just thrives. He's happy, he's strong, and he makes this incredibly loud bellowing sound. A kuar, the text calls it.
And that sound is the trigger for everything.
Everything. The Lion King, Binakla, hears this strange, powerful noise, and he's immediately frozen with fear. He assumes the creature making it must be enormous, unbeatable.
But as the king, he can't show that fear to his court, can he? He has to maintain this image of absolute strength.
Exactly. So he's paralyzed. And that's the vulnerability. That's what Dimna spots.
It's a fascinating insight into power, isn't it? Even the strongest ruler can be brought to a standstill by the unknown.
This is Dimna's moment. He and his brother, Kalila, are just jackals. Pretty low on the totem pole.
Oh, very low. But Dimna is different. He is just burning with ambition. He is profoundly dissatisfied with his place in the world.
He's restless. I love the part where his brother Kalila tries to warn him off, tells him to be content, to stick to his station. He even tells him that story of the monkey and the carpenter's wedge is a cautionary tale.
Kalila is preaching stability. You know, don't rock the boat. But Dimna's philosophy is the complete opposite. He basically argues that being close to the ruler is the entire point of life, not just for food.
But so he can please friends and grieve enemies.
Precisely. For Dimna, contentment is for failures. It's for the hungry dog that finds a dry bone. He wants real power, the power to shape events. So he takes his shot. He uses his intelligence, his perception, his Rayan fitna, as the text calls it, to approach the terrified lion. He volunteers to go check out this mysterious sound.
And this is where his genius really shows. He doesn't just go and report back, it's an ox. No.
He goes straight for the lion's paranoia.
He does. He uses another fable, the jackal and the drum. He tells the lion about this huge drum he found hanging in a tree that made a thunderous noise whenever the wind blew. But when he got close, it was just a big hollow thing.
It's the perfect analogy. He's saying, I know the sound is scary, but it's deceptive.
It's all noise and no substance. It immediately calms the lion's fear, but more importantly, it positions Dimna as this sharp, strategically valuable advisor.
And it works. Dimna brings Shatarba the ox to the court under a promise of friendship and safety. He's achieved his goal. He has access. He has status.
But this is where the whole thing backfires on him. Horribly.
Right. This really is the second act of the tragedy, where competence becomes a threat. Because Shatarba isn't just a big ox.
No, he's genuinely wise. The lion is immediately impressed by his... Of course. So, Dimna tells the lion about a pond where 3 fish live. Fishermen discover the pond. The first fish, the cleverest one, leaves immediately. Decisive action.
Okay.
The second fish, who is a bit less clever, waits. When the fishermen start netting, he feigns death, gets thrown on the bank, and flops back into the river. He escapes through trickery.
And the third one?
The third, foolish fish, just panics, swims around, and gets caught.
So Dimna is telling the lion, you have to be the first fish.
Exactly. He's telling him to be the hazim, the decisive, ahead-of-the-curve ruler. Eliminate this threat now before it can grow. He frames Shatarba's influence as an urgent, existential threat.
And that sense of urgency is key. It means the lion won't stop to verify the claim.
Not at all. And then Dimna adds another layer, an even more insidious fable. The louse and the flea.
Right. The louse lives comfortably in a nobleman's bed, feeding on his blood. He's an accepted presence, like
Yeah.
Shatarba.
Yes, and he invites a flea to join him. But the flea's bite is sharp and painful. The nobleman wakes up, searches the bed.
And crushes the slow-moving louse while the nimble flea escapes.
It's a devastatingly effective warning. Dimna is saying that even a trusted insider, like Shatarba, can bring about your destruction if he turns traitor. He has now completely linked the lion's survival to the need for preemptive violence.
So he's got the lion totally convinced. The next move, obviously, is to work on the other side of the equation.
He goes straight to Shatarba, again, feigning sorrow. He tells him the lion is jealous of him and plans to kill and eat him because he's grown so fat.
And Shatarba, who is fundamentally loyal and, good, he just believes him.
Tragically, yes. He's innocent of this kind of courtly malice. He immediately starts lamenting the king's treachery and corruption. It's in this moment that Shatarba realizes how merit can actually lead to your downfall in a system driven by envy.
And to process this, he reflects on a really brutal fable himself.
Right.
The story of the jackals and the camel.
Oh, that one is just chilling. It's about a lion who is injured and can't hunt. So he and his courtiers, a crow, a jackal, and a wolf, are all starving.
And they have a loyal camel in their company.
A loyal camel who the lion has promised not to harm. The courtiers, the schemers, convince the camel that they're all going to offer themselves as a sacrifice to the king.
And they go through this whole charade of offering themselves but giving reasons why they can't be eaten.
Right. And then the innocent, noble camel steps up and offers himself for real. And the schemers they fall on him instantly and devour him. The lion, bound by his word, can't do a thing.
Wow. The lesson for Shatarba there is just devastating.
It is. It's that trust in the court of the powerful is fatal. The wicked will always conspire to devour the innocent. He realizes he was good, but he was fatally naive about the world he'd entered.
And this is where Dimna comes in with his final piece of twisted advice, masquerading as caution.
He tells Shatarba the story of the tortoise and the ducks. The tortoise whose pond dries up, so two ducks agree to carry him to a new one by having him bite down on a stick they hold.
But they warn him, whatever you do, don't open your mouth.
Of course. And as they fly over a village, people on the ground start laughing and mocking him. The tortoise gets angry, opens his mouth to shout an insult.
And falls to his death.
The way Dimna applies this fable is just genius. He's telling Shatarba, you're in terrible danger. But if you speak rashly, if you confront the king without being ready, you will die just like that tortoise.
So he's actually coaching him to adopt an aggressive, defensive posture.
He is preparing the ox for a fight, having already convinced the lion that a fight is coming. It's a perfect trap.
And it leads to that inevitable, tragic conclusion.
It does. Dimna tells each of them exactly what aggressive signs to look for in the other. He tells the lion the ox will paw the ground and lower his horns. He tells the ox the lion will have a predatory stare.
So when they meet, they each see exactly what they were told they would see.
They see confirmation of the betrayal, and the tension just explodes into violence. They fight, and Shatarba is killed.
The tragedy is sealed, for me, by the lion's immediate regret. It's so piercing. The moment Shatarba is dead, Binocular realizes his mistake. He laments that his wise, virtuous counselor was probably slandered.
And that regret isn't just moral, is it? It's deeply political.
Absolutely. The king realizes he hasn't just killed a friend. He has destroyed a vital state asset. He's made himself weaker, more vulnerable to the very schemer who engineered the whole thing.
He destroyed his own support structure trying to preempt a threat that wasn't even real.
And the final word on it all comes from Dimna's own brother, Kalila. He comes back and condemns the whole thing.
He does. He points out the futility of it. He says Dimna's cunning may have worked in the short term, but it's shattered the kingdom's unity. He compares him to a mouse who gets a weasel to kill a snake that's threatening him.
Only for the weasel to eat the mouse and his whole family afterward.
The lesson is clear. Treachery, kadir, and makr eventually consumes the traitor. You create a chaotic system, and that chaos will eventually come back for you.
So let's bring it all back to the original question. What is the ultimate takeaway for the king, for the powerful ruler who is reading this?
Well, Bidpai lays it out very clearly at the end. He says Dimna's story is an extraordinary warning for wise rulers against listening to talebearers, namima, and whisperers. But the most important thing, he says, is that a ruler must always investigate claims thoroughly. They must engage in tathabut, rigorous verification, before they act.
It's such a sobering manual for leadership. The real threat to the ruler isn't an external enemy, it's their own internal weakness, their paranoia being exploited by unchecked ambition.
That's the core insight, I think. The lion, the most physically powerful creature, was completely undone. His best advisor was killed, and his kingdom was destabilized by the weakest creature in his court, using only words.
So a final thought for our listeners to take away. What crucial lesson about the nature of power does this whole story really suggest to you?
I think it suggests that physical strength and even absolute authority is profoundly vulnerable to intelligent malice. In any political ecosystem, the most dangerous weapon isn't the claw or the horn, it's the sharp edge of a cunning tongue and a strategically placed lie.